Homer's first Toastmaster meeting, Richard Snyder.
Howdy, fellow mooses. Welcome to my new palace. My old house blowed down in that big windstorm a few months ago. Ma's in the house fixing victuals for this here housewarming party. Gets you a drink and pulls up a chair. Set a piece because I'm going to tell you about my first Toastmasters meeting. About my first Toastmasters meeting. Brother Jethro done invited me to several of his Toastmasters clubs, and I was finally obliged to attend. Well, I no sooner got there than this swarm of Toastmasters swarmed in on me like bees to the honey, like I was a VIP or something. Well, it weren't long after that this sergeant at arms come forward and asked everyone to sit down. But he didn't look like no sergeant to me. He weren't even wearing a uniform. Well, the next thing I heard is this sergeant at arms introduced the club president. He'd come forward. He must have seen a bug on the table because he took out a hammer and he hit the table. Well, everybody started clapping after that, so I imagine he got the bug. Well, after that, someone in the audience asked everyone to bow their heads. Well, I was looking for some victuals to pray over, but I didn't see none. After a prayer, the president looked at me and asked if I'd introduce myself. Well, heck, I already knowed who I was, but Brother Jethro reminded me I was supposed to say my name. Howdy, folks. My name's Howard. My name's Homer. Not like Homer Simpson, only it ain't Homer Simpson, but Homer Gibbs. I used to be a Boy Scout years ago, and our motto was be prepared. So I come to this here meeting prepared to give a toast. Well, after that, I sat down and the president introduced the Toastmaster. Well, that was a real head scratcher. I thought they's all Toastmasters. Well, this here special Toastmaster come forward and introduced the first speaker, an icebreaker. Well, I was real excited. I thought this was finally my chance to get a drink. But you know, that man, he didn't break no ice. All he talked about was himself. And after that, a lady talked about her dream vacation. And when she was done, the people started to clap. And then they voted like a convention. Well, I was glad I brought my drinks because it looked like a long night ahead. Well, after that, they come to the section they call the table topics. And I looked all around the table. I didn't see nothing worth talking about. Well, the topic master asked a couple questions. The people spoke for a minute, 2 minutes. Then she asked if I'd like to speak. Well, heck, I didn't want to be no potty poop, so I said, why not? Well, my question was, what's in a name? Well, that was a mighty peculiar question. So I walked slow to the front like I seen the others done. What's in a name? We all has names. My name's Homer. Only wasn't my real name when I was born. My parents gave me the name Howard. Long time ago when I was just a lad, I was supposed to fight this here boy, but he was older and bigger than I was. I didn't want to fight him. So the kids commenced to calling me Howard the Coward. Well, I didn't care much for that none. Wasn't long after that I was playing baseball. I was supposed to hit this baseball off this stick they call the tee. Well, I hit it just as hard as I could. And the coach, he said, shake your legs, start running. So I run as fast as I could. I ran to first, on to second. They were still having troubles with that ball. So I ran to third. And the coach said, run home. So I did what the coach said. I run home. When I got there, Pop was powerful, angry. He said he was going to give that coach a piece of his mind. Well, the coach, he started laughing and laughing. He said it was all a misunderstanding. Well, after that, he commenced to call me Homer, and my teammates did the same. Never cared much for Howard the Coward, nohow. My last name's Gibbs. Nothing peculiar about it, but I remember one year I was teaching the driver's education at the local church. They said they chose me, but I figured they probably couldn't find anyone else to teach a bunch of juvenile delinquents how to drive. Anyways, on the first night, the students asked what they should call me. Well, I remembered back to that old time movie, In the Heat of the Night with Sidney Poitier. They call me Mr. Gibbs. And if you want to pass this year class, you'll call me Mr. Gibbs too. Well, they done called me Mr. Gibbs, and they all done passed. Last I heard, only 4 or 7 had been in an accident. They'd all still alive and hadn't killed no one. Well, I sat down and those people started clapping. I wasn't sure if they was clapping because I'd done good or because I'd done talking. Well, those Toastmasters, they voted again. And then it was time for the report card. I was real nervous about this because my report cards were never worth reporting about. But they said this was the most important part of the meeting. They introduced a couple of evaluators to talk about what the speakers did good and did not so good. Then they introduced the grammarian. He was going to talk about what we said good, not so good. When he came to me, I was powerful nervous. I was sweating bullets. Well, he said, Homa, we're going to give you a break tonight on account of you're a guest and all. Well, I was mighty happy of that. As you can probably tell, my grammar ain't that good. My grandpa ain't much better for that matter. Well, the meeting was just about over, so they brought this president back to the top front again. He must have seen another bug because he took out that hammer and hit the table again. The people were clapping again, and that was the end of the meeting. Well, I stayed around for a few minutes to talk to the Toastmasters. They said there was a lot of Toastmaster clubs in the area, and they didn't want to deprive those other clubs of my speaking skills. Well, I was mighty happy about that. I was mighty happy Brother Jethro reminded me of wearing my Sunday best. Heck, I even wear socks and shoes for the occasion. Well, fellow mooses, I don't know if I was ever going to go back to Toastmasters, but if I do, I'm going to have to wear my gloves because my hands were powerful sore from all that clapping. And if I do go back, I'm going to wear my special hat with the bottle in back so don't bother other speakers during the meeting. Well, as Porky Pig would say, a-ba-dee, a-ba-dee. That's all, folks. Mr. Toastmaster.